Straight after the results completed from the island's general election on Saturday, those that made the count to return to the new Legislative Assembly and 4 new candidates were all sought to form alliances of a new government. However, the 2 prominent sides, led by both members of the House that topped the polls, announced that they have the numbers to form a government. Yesterday, we caught up with Honourable Terry Coe on his take of the elections and whether he has the numbers to form a government.
I'm very humble for the people that voted for me and supported me over the last 3 years and at this election. So I'm very humble about it.
Well, you've been in government quite a while now, 1996 to 2011, and then you'll be going on to 2014. What are some of the things that went through your mind when you saw the results on Saturday? And were you expecting that type of result?
I was expecting to get in, but not again as that high. And I think that I was just thinking about it. There's a lot to be done on the island, and we need whoever gets into government. They've got to do the work this time. Not 3 years of just sitting around talk. We need people who are going to work, and I believe that we've got three new people in the common role who are very capable of helping to get that work done.
Originally, you were part of a team, the Democratic team. Now you're the only person that has, survived that or successful in the election this year. Have they given you any advice, or have they phoned you to give you their support, if anything?
No, because it was a group of people, and I went with them because if you go with the group, that you can get your message across just as well. To form an actual party, or even saying it's a Democratic Party, you need to get in. So, it was a case of using the media and that with them because they delivered my pamphlets out, and I appreciate that very much. But they are not influencing anything at the moment, and Sonny I think he's going this week or next week, and he hasn't got anything like with me. There's no gifts or anything like that to be given out. So virtually I'm on my own with the other people in the Parliament at the moment.
And I heard on Saturday night that the phones went straight away, and also the visits just to form an alliance. What are your chances?
I think we've got a good chance. We've had a meeting today, and no one has confirmed commitment to their number for the group, but at the moment it's looking quite good, and we just need to do a bit more homework on it, and we could have the numbers. We're only talking about 2 or 3 people, to make up the numbers. We are offering a multi-choice in the group now, which will allow the people to work with the ministers to implement all these things that are outstanding, and also the things that they need for their villages. So not like the previous government, where the Premier virtually dictated to the whole caucus on what he wanted and not listening to them.
Now, I guess who will you put forward as number one then?
We've talked about it, but I won't say at the moment, because we're going to have another meeting on Wednesday and confirm what we've talked about. I think the people are going away to have a think, and some of them might go to Toki's meeting also to see what he's got to offer. So, that's a good thing. And as I say, at the meeting for us on Wednesday, maybe we can come out with something concrete for the people.
We heard on Radio New Zealand that both your party and the other side are very confident that they have the numbers.
Well, that's politics, isn't it? I mean, we'd say that anyhow, I think. But at the end of the day, it'll be what happens in the Assembly meeting. And the choosing of the Speaker, which will be first, and then the swearing in of the members, and then election of the Premier. And then he'll select the Cabinet.
Any thought of yourself going in for number one job or top job?
I thought about it, but I've got the problem with the Niuean language, and also I haven't got the charisma that some of the other people have got. So I'm quite happy to work with the government of the day, this group. I can't work with Toki, he knows that, so I'll go with this group and support them. I've decided that this is my last time anyhow. So I'll be 71 at 2014, so I will stand down and let the others have a chance. And
I guess what I wanted to ask here is that your numbers are always high, and your numbers this time is also high. If you have the alliance, why not you're saying that this is your last time? Why not put your name? I mean, not all of us can speak Niuean here in Niue, and the majority of the people speak English.
Yes, I still feel comfortable, with supporting a good Premier. I think that's the main one. And if the Premier is a good person and can bring the people together on Niue, and we all work honestly and do a day's work, and we get rewarded for what we do, I think that's going to help. And I can help the Premier do that. And as I say, I want to finish up. I've been in politics a long time, and I want to finish up my work at that time too. So I need to train someone up to take it over, and just have a rest. And I think it'll be good. It'll be hard, but it'll be good to have a rest.
Current caretaking Premier Honourable Toki Talangi said today that he is pleased with the results of Saturday and wished to thank the people of Niue for the reflection of vote results on his leadership. He said he believes he has the numbers to return as the government of the day, but that will only come true once Parliament returns to the House. Honourable Talangi also said he would like to hold the first Assembly meeting as soon as Monday of next week. Yesterday, we also caught up with two new members of Parliament, Mrs. Joan Vidiamu and Mrs. Tulele Hemama Tungia of Makefu constituency. Both candidates were happy to represent the people in Parliament, but according to both of them, they did not expect that they will be successful, but full of gratitude to the people who believe in them to vote them into the new House of Assembly. We have yet to determine who these two new candidates will form an alliance with. The aftermath of last Saturday's general elections has taken a turn for the worse for the small village of Hiktavake. A house was burnt down in the late hours of Saturday evening, requiring assistance from the fire brigade. The police department are treating the incident as arson.
And regrettably on Saturday night we were called to a fire up in Hiktavake, which at this stage we're treating as arson. Now I say that in the absence of any other non-suspicious cause that I've been able to find so far. And as a result of that investigation so far, we've arrested two people and charged them with assault. And that's in relation to a slightly earlier incident earlier in the evening prior to the house burning.
We were also on the scene on that night. Why was it that I guess people were only detained after the fire had been put out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not clear on the details because, like you, I didn't get there until after the fire had occurred, as I understand it. And bearing in mind now that the matter is before the local court, I can't go into a lot of detail. I think the details of the assault only came to light once the fire had already started, and that was then progressed by the Niue Police, obviously, that night and then into Sunday.
Information has also come to light of an earlier incident where the occupants of the house that was eventually burnt down were assaulted and left the premises to seek refuge at another family home. According to the family that lodged the complaint, they called the police to inform them of the incident prior to the house being burned down. They were waiting for the police to take their statement and to request for those who had assaulted them to be removed. However, the police did not make it to the complainant's house, but instead went on to talk with those who had been part of the assault, giving them a warning. The BCN News crew were on the scene, while the fire department were diligently attempting to put out the fire. Despite all efforts, nothing could be salvaged, and while this was happening, people on the neighbouring property continued partying. The family member who lost everything are upset and are asking for justice, also questioning whether this could have been avoided if the department had dealt with the assault incident that they believe was in response to the election results. However, that is not the case, as the police state that they will not be linking their investigations to the outcomes of the election.
I think we need to be careful about making assumptions. And I know I said on BCN radio that now is a time for cool heads and common sense, certainly in the leaders of Hikitavaki and the persons involved. I don't think we need to be jumping to conclusions and saying that this is directly a link to the election result in Hikitavaki. I think there's a number of factors that may have contributed to this incident. And as I said, look, police investigations have to be based on evidence, not on rumour and speculation.
So, is it pure coincidence that the house of a close relative of the winning candidate was actually tortured on the night?
Look, I mean, it's a natural assumption to make, and I think I said on the Radio New Zealand interview as well that it's natural for people to make that assumption, but police don't have that luxury. We've got to, as I said, base our investigation on what evidence we can find. As I said, I don't want people jumping to conclusions with regards to that.
You stated that 2 people have been charged with the assault. How many people or how many suspects do you have in relation to the arson?
Look, there's a number of people that were obviously there. As you can appreciate, it was a busy night in a way because of the election. There's still a large number of people we want to speak to, witnesses that saw the fire, witnesses that called in the fire, and people that were at the addresses either early in the evening or when the fire occurred. So there's a lot of people we want to speak to. I wouldn't like to put a figure on it. Certainly the investigation is very much an open book at the moment.
So would it have made any difference if those who had assaulted other people early in the evening had been taken in when that incident occurred?
Well, I think that's, again, jumping to conclusions. Quite clearly that wasn't the case. Police, again, can only deal with matters as they see them. As I understand it, when they first arrived to that initial incident, the 2 parties whose house obviously subsequently tragically burnt down had gone up to another address in Hikitavaki, so weren't present at the time. And obviously that incident has been dealt with. Police have left, and shortly afterwards the house has burnt down.
So has there been anything at this point that has hampered the police investigation so far?
We're getting plenty of cooperation from witnesses and things like that. Really, I think what we need to get is, as I said, some common sense. This is a tragic accident my belief is that somebody's made a terrible error of judgment in the heat of the moment, which is going to affect Hikitavaki and the wider community of Niue for a long time to come if it's not resolved. And as I said, when I talked to BCN the other day and I talked to Radio New Zealand, I would implore those leaders of Hikitavaki on both sides of the political spectrum, on both sides of the village, to think very seriously about the repercussions of this incident and to start making amends.
The Chief of Police, Mark Chenery, cautioned members of the public not to spread further rumours, bringing up other issues, but to leave the investigation to the police. Police department are also asking for common sense from both sides to keep matters on even par, and that the investigation will be based on evidence collected. It is hoped that investigations and interviews will be completed by the end of this week and for a resolution to this problem. Official appointments have been made for a number of key positions within government departments advertised a few months ago. It has taken a few months to complete the interviews and selection process, but government's key employment body, the Niue Public Service Commission, are confident that those who have been appointed will contribute greatly to government's aspirations. The new director for the Whale Whono is Christine Ioane, and the executive officer Ngatu Tukutama. Brendan Pasisi remains as the Director of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries. Dave Talangi also retained his job as the Director of Public Works. Community Affairs have a new director in Gayleen, Tasmania. Another position that has finally been filled is the Pacific Planner. Ahohiva Levy has been appointed to that post. These appointments were made official this week, with work beginning on Monday. Over the weekend, Ecclesia Cristiano congregations around the island celebrated White Sunday, a day that also coincides with Mother's Day that falls on the second Sunday of May. White Sunday focuses and highlights young children, while Mother's Day celebrates motherhood. Ecclesia Cristiano Niue churches around the island celebrated White Sunday, with youngsters mustering up the courage to deliver short sermons, reciting scriptures, singing songs, skits and action songs in honor of their parents, but especially their mothers. This year's theme focused on a quote by Jesus Christ, "Let the children come to me," a day enjoyed by many and a rare opportunity for the focus to be on the children in the forefront. Now, those are our news stories that we have for you this evening. We do hope that you can join us again for our next news bulletin on Thursday.